Good morning, Mayor Martin, Deputy Mayor Webb, and members of council. Hello, I'm Karen Locklin, relatively new to the area, having bought property here 5 years ago. I've recently started getting involved in the community. My purpose today is related to the strategic goals of HBN. Through research, I've discerned that the city of Peterborough has been greatly influenced by unelected global agencies. I'm concerned that our municipal leadership make clear and well-informed decisions representing the needs of our people, rather than following the direction of unelected global agencies. There is a battle for our community, for our democratic rights to self-regulate, which many are attempting to veil. To clarify the extent of the global influence, I'll be asking 5 questions as a formal inquiry, highlighting the key points and leaving this document with you for further explanation and key videos for viewing. Question 1. What is the authority of our municipal government versus the authority of global agencies? I quote from the municipal primer: central to the philosophy behind Agenda 21 is the concept of thinking globally and acting locally, implying community involvements and initiatives and decision-making about the environment. Please review this statement, understanding your official responsibility as a municipal councillor according to the Municipal Act, Section 224. Briefly, the key responsibilities as a councillor are to support the municipality and its operations while ensuring that public and municipalities' well-being and interests are maintained. I suggest to you that the 5 Sustainable Development Goals Peterborough in its strategic plan is selected directly from the 17 UN Strategic Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, will be implemented upon we, the public, are most certainly not in the best interest or for the well-being of our municipality. It's time to make a choice. A few concerns related to these UN directives are: 1, the erosion of public property rights of public landowners, especially in rural areas. Our infrastructure is gradually being altered by the direction of the globalists. The municipality of Kawartha Lakes now has no more access to natural gas. If the city of Kawartha Lakes chose to have no more natural gas, are we next? In the hope of future developments like our long-term care facility in this municipality, would the council ensure that these developments have access to natural gas? Is it responsible leadership to ensure ratepayers don't have natural gas for heat in the winter? 2, what is this council's position on the matter of the UN's official 2050 plan for net zero mobility? 3, how will these goals affect such businesses as the local trucking company, the Rain Brothers, and other local key businesses, and the multitude of cottagers who provide a huge economic base to our community? Realistically, many people can't afford to buy a home, so expecting ratepayers in this area to afford the cost of an electric vehicle whose green value isn't paid anyway is inherently ludicrous. 5, contrast the local income and taxation to our 105 senators, which documentation shows are using millions of our tax dollars for travel, 65% of their budget, and accommodation, 20% of their budget. In 2022, 85% of 3,798,445 claimed. If our Canadian leadership were serious about sustainability, why don't they just make a Zoom call instead? Remember, it's the role of council to represent and to consider the well-being and interests of the municipality. Question 2. What are our current connections to the UN, and do we have legal obligations? I had hoped to show a video which showed a similar reaction to this overreach by the UN and ICLEI, one of their affiliates, by California residents over 11 years ago. So I urge you to have a look at that. It's San Carlos, California residents. So have a look at that if you can. I suggest a duplicitous relationship between the County of Peterborough and its municipal officers elected to represent the ratepayers of our community who are liable for their actions. Third-party employees versus third-party employees and key international organizations like the UN, ICLEI, WEF, WHO, who are not liable for their actions. In the last 10 years, Canada contributed over 900 million to the WHO in support of global health priorities. It's unconscionable that we assist other countries, but our federal government has not yet made its promises for clean water to our Aboriginal communities a priority. Although this was an election promise in 2015, it's 2023. Water for our people should have been our $1 million primary health care investment. Incomprehensibly, one of the key mandates upon which our Prime Minister was elected has been relegated to the bench while accolades come in from the UN for the contributions of our tax dollars to other countries, while restricting our livelihood and our economic potential, especially with government increases of carbon tax dollars. Is there a connection here? It's like getting birthday gifts for your child's friends and having no money left for your own child's gift. Boundaries and priorities must be set. Although we commit local public funds to private sustainable development goals and foreign investors, there is not an appropriately converse relationship in which we receive any benefits related to our ratepayers in our community. If what we get from our affiliation with the UN and its subsidiaries is one, a yearly bill of about 80 million, two, 17 sustainable development goals, and three, increased taxation, perhaps we need to rethink this relationship. Question 3, do we really have a climate change emergency? I urge you to view Nobel laureate Dr. John Clauser, his statement. Dr. John Clauser and a volume of international scientists not affiliated with the UN suggest that UN data is inaccurate. International scientists have jointly signed a declaration dismissing the existence of a climate crisis and insisting that carbon dioxide is beneficial. In the article shared with you, scientists recommend natural ways to de-escalate emissions without any carbon tax in Canada. Don't accept the UN generals' claim that we're at a boiling point. Where do our councillors stand on energy security? Affordable energy sources affect us all. Secure, affordable energy should be prioritized as opposed to reacting, responding to ridiculous fear-mongering statements from UN leaders intending to influence our government. These are the real issues, not for warmer weather here in Canada. So the Clintel organization said there is no climate emergency. Climate science should be less political, while climate policy should be more scientific. Scientists should openly address uncertainties and exaggeration in the predictions of global warming, while politicians should dispassionately count the real causes as well as the imagined benefits of their policy measures. Maggie Braun challenged Peterborough's emergency climate declaration, saying, regardless of Canada being a UN member, no level of government has the authority to implement foreign mandates, policies, treaties, or agreements that violate the Canadian Constitution, that target include private property rights, the BNA Act, Rights and Freedoms, Bill of Rights, or the Coronation Oath. Conspiring with foreign powers to assist in any act preparatory to the takeover of our nation is an act of treason, according to Section 46 of the Canadian Criminal Code. Please take a look at John Laureate's missing piece. He says, I believe I have the missing piece of the puzzle that have been left out of virtually all these computer programs, and that is the effect of clouds. Like Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, who is protecting provincial rights from federal legislation, can you stand up to protect us from provincial and global overreach? Question 4, SDGs, Sustainability Development Goals. How do these goals developed by the UN benefit or limit our municipality and its ratepayers? What allegiance does the municipality of HBM have with these agencies? How does this benefit our people? Are the public aware of our association with these globalists? And are the long-range goals of the UN transparent? How will the UN climate change directives towards sustainability regarding transportation and communication affect the economic development in our area? Please consider the key local industries who rely solely on transportation of materials for their businesses. Grain Brothers, Stewart car dealerships, tourism, foodland, cottagers. What are the municipalities' legal obligations and who is responsible for the result of these actions? Question 5. How can we set boundaries for our region to implement our economic and environmental goals? Enter Neil Oliver, journalist, historian, and Great Britain News. He suggests the UN goal of a one world order from an article in Herald Scotland News. The rabbit hole gets deeper. Earlier this year, Oliver claimed a silent war was being waged by generation after generation of politicians to take control of the people and impose a one world government. This is a call to create resilience in our local community and create local solutions to be developed and implemented. In closing, I propose a response from Council to respond to the question, who is responsible for the takeover of our country? for meaningful public consultation regarding economic and environmental planning. The municipal primary is just a blueprint for economic and official development. It is not prescriptive. As our council, your decisions and impact cannot be understated. My hope is that this delegation will not be ignored or dismissed. This is a call to you, our elected officials, serving the public to do your duty to override and correct the errors of the past. Like the wave in arenas all over Canada, the hockey stands, people just stand up and join in the wave without a thought for the tsunami effect a wave can have. Please don't join this wave. We want to believe that you took on this role to serve the people of this region and that together we can reclaim our country one small town at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you for giving the 10 minutes. I'll open up the council. Anybody got any questions or comments? Okay.
Yeah, I just,
Sorry. I just think you would have time.
yes. I'd just like to thank you very much for the presentation here today. I thought it was very well done. There's no shortage of background information. People are interested in the topic. I invite you all to further look into it. I know I will. I didn't get to it all, but there's a lot more here that I'll get into. Just on a side note, I appreciate people such as yourself coming out to speak. I know in the environment we live in today, it's sometimes hard to speak about these issues on certain sides of these issues. But I think the questions you bring up here today are all extremely valid. I think as I know myself, I would definitely consider all these. I hope the rest of the council takes these into consideration. And I like the idea that you guys are getting at here in terms of more of a local thing. Like, as you said, why are we taking, orders from the UN or some higher board body on high that really has no control over us? It doesn't affect our lives really in any way, right? We should be making decisions for ourselves. We know what's going to be best for our community, the people of our community. And as I said, I really appreciate hearing this, because quite often we're hit with presentations from the pro. And one other thing that you kind of referred to here, I know a lot of people on that side, they refer to it as settled science. So when we get in discussions, they'll say settled science. Well, anyone that knows science knows there's no such thing as settled science. Science is constantly changing. And anyone that tells you that obviously doesn't know anything about science. So I appreciate you guys, all of you coming here today. And thank you very much for your presentation.
Thanks, Kylie.
Thank you.